Some people ask me about the TR6 that we are currently restoring in our shop, so I'm gonna tell you a little bit about it. This is the ad in Kijiji that we found, and we liked it. We spoke to the owner and we decided to go ahead and buy it. It was partially restored by the owner, and at some point he didn't have any more time, or I don't know what reasons, but he abandoned the project and it's had for a long time. So when we went to pick it up, on the trailer actually we put just the frame with part of the body on top that wasn't even bolted together, and all the rest of the parts were loose or in boxes, and we just loaded them at the back of our truck.
Oh, you just got this rod here to come over. There you go.
Then we took it to the shop and we unloaded it a little bit too aggressive. And because there was no steering column mounted in place, we couldn't use its own steering. That's why we had to put it on the strollers. At that time we had another TR6 for partial restoration in the shop. And not only this TR6, we had some more interesting cars there. So we have this one, the new guy that came here today. We have this guy, that's the customers. We have this Citroen. We have this guy here. And we have the TR4, which is here. Let me show it to you. TR4. So the first thing we did was to remove the body from the frame, which was very easy because it wasn't even bolted to the frame. And second, there was no front valance on the body, so we just almost slided it back instead of lifting it up. The frame was in a very good shape, and our initial idea was to just finish the restoration, to restore the body and sell the car without investing too much money and time in it. But the suspension wasn't in a really good condition. It needed all the bushings to be changed, and we had to take it apart for that, and we decided, as we were taking it apart anyhow, to clean it and de-rust it and paint it. The engine, according to the previous owner, was in a very good condition before he took the car apart to change the frame, but we couldn't be sure before we started and warm it up and then do a compression test. So we decided to begin with cleaning it and painting it together with the tranny, since they were a couple of bolts away from taking them out from the frame. We cleaned the carbs and rebuilt them. So before we knew it, we turned this quick in and out project into a ground up restoration project. Once we started putting the parts together, everything started looking so nice that we realized that we would have to pay special attention to every single part and make sure that this car turns into something which is very nice and beautiful. Meanwhile, the body received the front valance from another car, donor car, and a couple of patches on the floor and here and there, but we soon realized that we will need to dig a little bit deeper, so we put the body and fenders and doors and everything through a sandblaster. Again, it wasn't in our plans, but since we started doing such a nice job with the suspension, with the frame and everything, we couldn't just put the old body with a new paint on this car, so we went much deeper. Even the seats got reupholstered. They had few tears, so we made completely new covers. And since the body was gonna take a lot more than expected to be ready, we decided to start the engine just as it is on the frame, just so we can do a compression test and decide how are we gonna proceed. So I connected the battery there, gas canister, some wiring. I didn't put the rod on, that's why I clamped the hoses so I can still have a coolant inside. The wiring directly onto the starter motor. The carbs are not even tuned, they are just put together after I rebuilt them. But let's see how is it gonna go with the first start. Since the fuel system was still empty, I sprayed some gas directly into the air cleaner's openings. And did the first trial. Surprisingly it started, but as soon as the fuel in the carbs got burned, it stopped. This time it lasted longer, but it didn't hold. So for the third attempt, I decided to hold the choke a little bit, but obviously the problem was not there, it was just lacking fuel. Because as soon as I put some more fuel in the carbs, it started again. And again, it didn't last long. Obviously the fuel pump couldn't send enough fuel to the carbs, so I decided to pull out the gas line from the carbs and fill them up manually. Attempt number 4. This time it didn't stall, but the fuel pump started leaking fuel all over the place. So I checked and now I realized why it wasn't sending fuel to the carbs, because I didn't tighten the bolts when I cleaned it. Happens. So after I tightened the bolts, I started it one more time and kept it running for a couple of minutes to warm it up to the normal working temperature so I can perform the compression test. I did a compression test before that on a cold engine, and it showed a little bit low on some of the cylinders. I put some drops of oil into the cylinders as well and tried again. That didn't change too much the compression, which shows me that the problem is into the head, probably the valves. But I decided to warm up the engine and check the compression again so I can see if there were some different results. When it was warm enough, I pulled the gas line out of the canister so I can run it again one more time and let it burn all the fuel from the fuel system, so I don't have any fuel in the system when I perform the test.